Hi, and welcome to another Making Sense of It with me, Emma Kenny.
And me, Pierre Smith.
Do you like the consistency of our introductions?
I do. I changed it then, though. French. Didn't you see?
You called yourself Pierre.
Pierre.
Yeah. What was the rationale for that?
Well, some people say it's French for Peter, but it's not, is it really? It's just Pierre.
It is French for Peter.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So not some people, it's the truth.
But if you called a kid Pierre in England, people wouldn't call you Peter, they'd call you Pierre. It'd be really awkward, wouldn't it?
Let's do the intro again then, so then I can do it.
No,
Just for the purpose
it's
of the
fine.
thing.
All I'm saying is...
Oh, because I'm going to call myself Pedro then.
What I'm saying though is, if in England you called your kid Pierre,
Yeah.
people would refer to them as Pierre, and it'd be dead confusing if they were like, no, it's Peter.
Yeah.
Well, how do you spell it? Pierre.
That's Pierre.
But it's Peter.
Yeah.
It's
Smith.
like when Alexia, my sister, in a class, had a kid, and she shouted out the register, and it got to Yvonne, and everybody just looked blank. And then about 5 minutes into it, a kid went, do you mean Wyvone? And some parent had called their kid Wyvone. Yeah, because it had a Y at the beginning. They called it nearly as good as me calling somebody Sayavan for 3 years.
Yeah, Sayaban.
Because I thought it was how you went.
Yeah. Hello, Sayaban.
Hi,
Sayabachan.
Sayavan!
Sayabachan. That's like a hit. Sayaban.
Terrible.
Sihoban.
1 week before my finals, somebody called her Siobhan, and I was like, okay.
Oh, no.
And then just started calling her Siobhan like it just always been the way. Siobhan, you all right? Oh my God, I was dying.
You can't really mistake Peter, can you? Or Emma.
Mine's not even a name, mine's a sound. That's it, innit?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a sound.
Yeah. No, I was actually just...
It is just a sound.
I was clearing my throat then.
Yeah, but in context, it is. Yeah, it's my voice. It's my sound. It's the way it is.
It's a great name, Emma. I like it. I love it.
When I was growing up, I got about 15 people buying me the book Emma by Jane Austen. I like Jane Austen, but everybody was like, oh, look, a book called Emma. Let's buy it, Emma. But it's like, you only need it once.
Oh, mattress is called Emma.
That's completely different. That's not even anywhere. Nobody bought me a mattress.
If anyone's listening, we don't name our mattress like people name their car, you know.
But that's not been something contextually the same as what I was talking about.
It is.
No, it's not. I'm saying that because my name was Emma, people repeatedly bought the book by Jane Austen called Emma. Nobody's repeatedly bought me a very expensive mattress.
Tenuous links. It's like the five...
Tenuous links!
It's like Ted Rogers in Dusty Bin. It's one of their clues. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. He was fast at that. He used to practice that every night, didn't he, Ted?
This week's been a bit weird. Do you know why?
Well, go on, tell me.
I just don't think my jowl treatment's working.
You don't think your gel treatment's working?
No. No. I'm getting obsessed about my jowls.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't have jowls, that's
I've
the
got
thing.
jowls starting. I can see them happening. I can see them happening before my eyes. And so I've signed up for this treatment, haven't I?
Yeah.
And apparently it's meant to work. Well, I'm not convinced.
No.
I'm going to be honest. I'm about my fifth treatment. And I thought by now I'd basically be like Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox again. You know,
So it's just a blag, is it?
All seems to go up. Well, no, apparently it's meant to
an
work.
expensive face massage.
That's what I think it might be.
Yeah.
An expensive face massage. But now I've started looking into more rigorous approaches. And I found this thing called Ulthera. It's apparently like this therapy that they put on your face. And it's meant to be agonisingly painful. But it's meant to make a massive difference. But it's £1,500. They say you only need it once, but that might be because nobody ever goes back because it's so agonisingly painful. That's what they say. It's agonisingly painful.
So have they the pain of this sort of...
No, it's just really painful.
Is it?
Yeah, and apparently people...
Have they likened it to anything else? Like the pain for...
Agonising pain.
Yeah, but like having a claw hammer smashed into your side of your
If
head.
that's agonisingly painful, that's probably where we're at.
Yeah, it's definitely agonising.
Apparently it stimulates all this stuff, right? But it's meant to be amazing. And the FDA in America have actually said, yeah, actually, to be honest, it massively turns back time and in like a Cher kind of way. If I could turn back time.
Oh, Mike from Neighbours. Is he there?
If I could find a way. That's my Cher voice.
Yeah, is Mike from Neighbours there too?
Why did he do a song called Turn Back Time?
No, but he was in the Time Machine, the film.
That's not a tenuous link. That's ridiculously bad.
But he went back in time.
He
And
might-
then knocked it accidentally and fell asleep, like knocked his head, and then went further in time ever. And that Irish chick was there. What's her name? The singer. And he ended up getting with her.
I don't know what you're on about.
And you never seen the film The Time Machine?
No.
It's brilliant.
Oh, I don't believe you.
It's Mike from
It's
Neighbours.
got Mike from Neighbours going apparently further in the future than anybody's ever been before and meeting an Irish girl. Why is the Irish girl there in the far-flung future? Do they all speak Irish? Is it a Gaelic city?
It's some Irish singer, some girl, some...
just come on.
That's an Irish dancer. That's an Irish jig dancer.
Come on.
Hey, Mike.
Oh,
That's a Nazi salute. she comes on, an Irish dancer who's actually a singer comes on and does a Nazi salute. I mean, what sort of future is this?
that was not a Nazi
I know
salute.
it wasn't. I know. Not like Jake Paul was doing on that. That boxing
No one's
thing
going to know
for
who
you.
Jake Paul is. People who listen to this podcast don't know who Jake Paul is.
No, they don't. Do they?
And we don't want to advertise him because he's a cretin.
He is a cretin.
Anyway, what I was saying about my gel treatment, it's not working. This really, really painful one's meant to work, and I want it now.
Is it the UK based? Can you get it in the UK?
You can, but it's £1,500.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
But I have seen the results, and it looks amazing. It like literally looks like somebody has just like got your face and just like shoved it all back in the right places.
Can you actually ask to meet the people who are in those photos? Just so you can say, did you have this treatment? Or did you actually have a facelift?
You can't advertise people falsely. It's against the advertising standards. You know nothing.
Well,
That's why you can't say a Mars a day helps you work, rest and play, because it didn't. It just made you fat. That's the truth.
And hyper.
Yeah, iron brew. It's made from iron girders. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Can't even have a sense of humour anymore.
Made from girders.
Weren't allowed to like slap people around the face when they drank tango because that wasn't apparently approved.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
a
remember
lot
you've been
of-
tangoed, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that the fun police have ruined.
I know.
You know, adverts used to be funny.
The Fun Police, what do you think they'd look like? I've just got this vision in my head of some really
do you
sort
wanna
of
know?
tall, long,
Do you wanna know?
dark, like you can't see their eyes, the black down there, like a DC comic.
I just think they look like normal coppers
Do you reckon?
because they really do drain the fun out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they
No
do.
disrespect to coppers, but I've met a lot of coppers without a lot of sense of humour. Like literally, I've had jokes with them and it just fell flat on the face. Did I tell you about the time? I think I did tell you. That's not entirely true, actually. There was a time when they came round to my house to do a survey, and as I saw them get out of the car, I screamed to my kids, "Kids, get inside and hide the drugs!" And they both properly laughed. And then when they actually got to my door, I opened it and I went, "Unless you've come to tell me that my ex-husband has been killed in a car crash, I do not want to see you." And they both laughed heartily at that.
No. I mean,
Not that I wish death on my ex-husband, but I do have like comedy Tourette's when I'm in nervous situations. And the other one was when the fire brigade came round. I remember I've told you this, but just for the joy of our listeners, this is actually what happened. It's real. Got a knock on the door. They were coming to fit. Back in the day, they used to give you these free fire smoke alarms. And they were fitted by the fire brigade. And actually, back in the day, they used to turn up in the van, like in the proper fire brigade.
Oh, yeah,
Your
yeah.
kids would come out and be able to like have a look. So I'd put myself in. I'd got them done. You had to do this survey.
Well, it's more of an engine, really.
Whatever. The fire van engine, whatever it is.
Fire van.
Whatever. Like say a van, but a fire
Yeah,
van.
yeah. So it was a
It's Fivon.
Fivon.
A Fivon.
Oh, brilliant. That's true, though. So the firemen turn up in the Fivon.
Me mom, me mom. What was it?
It's
It's a
not a-
Bebo or a Nino.
It's a Nino.
It's a Nino.
Yeah. A B-bar is an ambulance and
B-bar.
anything else is a police car.
Anyway, so they turned up and they came in the house and I was really nervous. I was with my ex-husband at the time and I had two very little children. And I was in my new house. I'd only just moved there. And they came in and you had to do this like proper survey. And it was a proper survey. And then it got on an exit strategy. And this guy looked at me and he went, "What's your exit strategy?" And I just went, "Well, basically just open the top window, throw the kids out onto the conservatory and just get out like that." And he went, "That's a really terrible plan." Deadpan. Didn't take it as a joke. Literally thought that was my suggestion for an exit strategy. And went, "Have you actually thought that the conservatory could be very hot? The glass could shatter and your children could fall into the flames?" Yes, I have. That's why I'm joking about it. So I then kind of went, right, okay. And it just got gradually more excruciatingly awkward.
Oh, no.
That I would try and crack a joke and the guy would just be like, it's like when I was the other week in a meeting.
I'm going to get on the roof and I'm going to set a fire to see if anybody can see me in distress. And they'll be like, but you're in a fire. Yeah, exactly.
Well, one of the things, not so long ago, I was in a meeting with a barrister and it was about a share dispute. And I made a joke about the fact it would be cheaper to kill my ex-business partner. And he just didn't even crack a smile. And my brother had to kick me under the table. And it's like, what is it? Like, I can't help myself. In an awkward situation, I have to say something.
I like that, mate, about you. I think it's great.
But some people don't like that.
You know, just make, you know, it's like any awkwardness, just.
No, for you it does. Yeah. Lots of times it doesn't.
Oh no, I've come across those people that have zero sense of humour. That
there are times that's happened quite a lot with me. I'll say something and it's just
deadpan, just like silence, just
like a wet fart.
Yeah,
that's how it's gone down.
Like a wet fart.
Like a very, very, very awkward wet fart.
An awkward wet fart.
Well, it's awkward when you have a wet fart, isn't it?
Shart.
Particularly in public. Do you remember my dad telling that story?
Which one?
Oh, you do remember it. When my dad was working, he was a salesman, a brilliant salesman for Dormer. If you listen back to some of these podcasts, you'll hear a little bit about some of the people that he used to work with, invented the stapler. But anyway, that's another story. Long story short.
And the spaghetti hoop catcher, whatever it is. The pasta
if
scoop.
you've listened to this podcast, you know what I'm on about. Anyway, so he was a sales rep, great sales rep, yeah. And he used to go to these conferences every year. So they'd be like the place where the new displays would be out. So my dad would go around, make sure that all the displays were dressed so that the people who were buying those kind of products could go and see the different textiles that they had. So one day my dad's there and he said, oh my God, Emma, I'm stood there, I'm chatting to this guy. He said, and all of a sudden, he said, I smelt the worst shitty Trump smell. He said, and I thought,
Mute.
God, stinks. He said, honestly, he said, it was so overpowering. He said, I actually moved. He said, I moved. He said, and then I walked around a bit. He said, anyway, he said, I'm chatting to number one. He said, bloody hell. He said, it's back in. He said, I'm thinking to myself, somebody's trod in dog dirt. It's as simple as that. He said, it's really, really getting to me.
Story
really under my nose. And then he carries on. He goes on all day and he just keeps just getting this whiff. Anyway, then he goes to the toilet and he realises he shit himself.
Oh, dearie me.
Who? At what point does any human not know that they've crapped in the pants?
Well, was it coming through his trousers and stuff?
No, he just like...
This means that wherever he was sat, everybody else would have been sat there going, oh, God, has he shit himself?
He had to take his underpants off and like... But they were a good pair, so we washed them in the sink and put them in a plastic bag and took them home. Always thrifty, always northern.
There's nothing worse than smelling shit on clothes.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
There's a lot of things worse. You know, get your head chopped off by an, combine harvester when you just sat having a picnic with your family. You know what I mean? That's worse. Oh, as you can tell, the dogs are there again. We're in the kitchen, and the birds are tweeting.
I like the fact that we do it in the kitchen.
I do. I think it's great.
I think that firstly, it's a lot cheaper than a studio, and secondly, we can fit it around our time, which is an important thing to do.
It is these days.
What's that award that the person gets for the stupidest death? Olivier? No, that's not. It's an acting award.
Oh, that's an acting award. The wooden spoon. What is it?
What is it?
There's
an award that you get for the stupidest death. I think somebody won it this week.
And what was the stupidest death?
He put a vest on that he thought was
stab food. That was from.
And then he put a 10-inch kitchen knife straight through his chest.
That was from Thornaby up in Middlesbrough area, Teesside, same place from my neck of the woods. That nobody will know where it is.
22-year-old kid.
Yeah, I know.
Killed himself.
In his kitchen.
In his kitchen with a 10-inch knife. Now listen.
That's not the stupidest death, though, is it?
That isn't a stupid death.
No, it's just a stupid death, but it's not the stupidest death.
Well, I'm sorry, Pete. I'm sorry. The idea that it's not a stupidest death, that the person has firstly bought themselves what they think is a stab-proof vest and hasn't thought, maybe I'll just test it when I'm not wearing it. And also, who goes, oh, right, first go, I'll take a 10-inch knife. 10-inch knife. And it went all the way through.
I know, it's terrible, that. That is a stupid death. I thought you meant like a silly death, as in like daft,
Death's never daft.
Swallowing a firework and...
That's never death, though, is it? It's always...
Well, it would if it explodes your torso in half.
When did that ever happen?
It's a silly death.
Has it ever happened?
Go on, you told me you come up with a silly death now. You know, a silly, like, ha-ha death, you know. You know, he's swallowing a firework and exploding from the inside.
A silly death.
Yeah. You know, getting eaten by a load of goldfish.
I think
The
stupid deaths are always around things like the person who puts the head inside the lion's mouth and then gets it bitten off.
But it's not silly, is it? That's just like, oh, God, look what's happened there.
Well, it's silly in the
I'm
fact
talking
that
about,
they didn't
like,
need to do it.
You know, you know, like falling over, you know, into a wet towel and then, you know, getting electrocuted.
Rolling down a hill.
Rolling down a hill
Landing in
and
some
landing,
concrete.
landing in a electric pylon wires that have come away. And then
That's not a stupid death. That's a very bad luck.
Yeah.
That's just bad luck. It's not the same. There's no intent there. It's
Yeah.
when people do ridiculous things like go over Niagara Falls in a barrel, stupid death.
Yeah.
Totally avoidable. Totally unnecessary. What were you really going
Isn't
to
it
gain?
bizarre that people used to do that?
They still do. They still do
Is
it.
it like Victorian times?
They
sort
still do it.
Yeah.
People still do it. Stupid death. Like,
Yeah.
no sympathy. No sympathy for that death. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I know not fair to a lot of people, this. And I acknowledge that this is just me and my risk-averse nature in this situation. But anyone who climbs those massive mountains where you can die and people are just left on the ridges because they die, stupid
Like
death.
Kilimanjaro and stuff.
Totally unavoidable. Totally unavoidable. Why do it?
I don't know.
North Pole. Avoidable deaths.
Yeah. Isn't it funny that people say if you're in the North Pole, everywhere you look
Don't care.
south?
Don't care.
No.
Don't care. Because
But that
I don't
is-
agree.
Yeah, I don't agree going
I
on.
don't agree.
No, send robots
Send robots.
to go and have a look at it instead of yourself. You know what I mean?
But people want to do it, don't they?
People want to do it, yeah.
It's like people do
Explorers.
those bucket list things,
Yeah.
don't they? Oh, I want to climb Kilimanjaro. I want to go to the North Pole. I want to go down the Amazon and meet a tribe of potential
Yeah.
cannibals, but just befriend them. And then, they died on one of those journeys. You never know which one it's going to be, but they're always going to die.
Yeah, bucket lists are funny, aren't they? When I go to the
We have bucket lists.
Pachamichu.
Mine's like eat at a Michelin star restaurant. We've done that
we've
once.
done that once.
Never going to do that again.
No?
I'll tell you.
No?
Left hungry. Great, lovely taste.
Yeah.
Every course.
I wanna go on that.
Tiny.
I want to go on that longest zip wire where you fly
That, yeah,
down
longest
it.
zip wire.
You know, that looks good.
Yeah, I want to travel.
Yeah, maybe
Really hot countries again.
like to
I
parachute.
want my jowls to go.
Yeah.
Anybody who's listening who's a plastic surgeon or has got one of these Ulthera machines that apparently like make your skin young and youthful again, I'm up for it. That's all I'm saying. Test me as your guinea pig. Otherwise, it's probably going to be in 5 years, proper full facelift, just going to go for it. You're going to watch this video one day and there'll be a bit of a break and then I'll just be like this, hello! And there won't be a line on my face, not a line on my face. Because the thing is, right, Botox, I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it. I've tried it.
I had it once, didn't I? I looked like
You look like a Vulcan.
looked like Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not for me. I like being able to do that with I like it. I like being able to move my eyebrows a bit.
Yeah.
What it does, it only freezes a certain area of your head. So like bits
Yeah.
of your eyebrow can move up, but it
Yeah.
only moves up in like a really, like a suspicious, fiendish kind of look. You just, not for me.
I just want to get loads more tattoos.
I know, but that's the great thing about being a man and not being like me. I can't go on to this morning with like a
Yeah,
massive facial tattoo.
It's
I'd
funny,
love
isn't
to
it?
do
Because
that.
people are like, oh, men grow old gracefully and da-da-da-da, you know, and it's...
You can say that though, because you've got your hair.
Yeah, I know, I have got hair, and
My dad has
feel very
never
lucky,
ever
yeah.
got past it.
I was talking to your dad about it, actually. I was having a conversation with Emma's dad, and I was just saying, save up, because he's got loads of hair, like most, just at the front
My
bit.
dad's not going to have a hair
Well, he said if you won the
transplant.
lottery, he would.
Of course, he won the lottery.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, just do it then.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's not that expensive, is it?
I want my dad to have a hair transplant now.
No, that's what I said. I said, well, we'll have to figure this out, Don.
Oh, if anybody's listening and they've got a free hair transplant that they want to give my dad, that'd be dead nice. He's a lovely bloke.
Yeah, he is.
You'd make his week.
No, or a hair transplant machine that you can
Gets
lend
a
us.
2 for 1. 2 for 1.
But you definitely,
No jowls, more
so
hair.
he was like, oh, no, if I won the lottery award, so that actually means that he would love one, but he don't think he dare ask.
I love that if I won the lottery.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If
he
I
was-
won the lottery,
He said he's like, I don't know what I'm
I
putting it
would
on
look
for.
25 within a moment, honestly.
You already do look 25. What are you on about?
Oh, Pete, you're honestly right. So I love you very much, but you're massively delusional. You're so delusional. It's lovely, but it's just not a good reflection. Seriously, it's just not a good reflection. Honestly, if I believed the crap you came out with,
Yeah.
I would embarrass myself a lot.
I know sometimes I find it hard to believe that I believe the crap that I come out with.
I know.
All the time. Did I just say that?
Yeah. It's like when you went and got the ring valued. Pete found some treasure.
I did. I found some treasure in
Found
our
some
house.
treasure.
It's like full treasure. I was digging on the side, contemplating putting one of those sheds up against the house, and I realised, no, it's not good for damp. And as I was digging all the stuff out, and preparing it, I just came across it. It was like Lord of the Rings. You know
It is
what
a
I
bit
mean?
like Lord of the
It is a bit
Rings.
like Lord of the Rings. The ring,
Precious.
yeah. I feel
My
it's,
precious.
yeah. And like I found it and I was like, ooh, it was quite heavy and it's small and we've had it for ages.
So maybe there's some very small
Yeah.
lady got murdered
I
and
just
buried in
thought,
our
but
garden.
it's heavy, it's a heavy ring.
It
It's so I just thought we're not going to sell it because
No,
it's a bad
bad
omen,
karma.
So I just took it to find out what it is, and it turns out it's 22 carat gold, and they didn't give me the weight of it, but it was pretty heavy. And she just turned around and went, "Give 130 quid for it."
Yeah,
Like as if I'm just going to go, "Yes, you've just told me it's 22 carat gold, love." And I know how heavy it is. Go on then, I'll snap your hand off. It's like, come on. Do I look like I was born yesterday? Do I look like I need a bag of heroin?
That's the kind of benchmark that you'd accept.
Well, you
it.
know what I mean? Yeah, go on then. Just give us I tell you what, just give us a tenner. You know what I mean? Poppy.
It's so true, that, isn't it? But anyway, we've got a ring. I wonder what that story is of that ring.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to imagine that there'll be a story of love connected to it. That's why I can't get rid of
Well,
it.
love and loss, isn't it?
Yeah, literally lost.
Yeah,
because
that's
we
what I mean.
found it. Unless it belongs to somebody's finger who's dead and
In the
has
garden.
been buried.
Yeah.
No, just like there must be loads of graves that come and go. You know what I mean? People deconsecrate land all the time.
Well, I mean, this.
I did my
You know what? Where we
degree
are
finals in a
see,
church.
under trees like this as well in our garden. As I said before on other podcasts, we bought a property that has some big trees in the
Got a
garden.
little wood.
Yeah, a little wood, and that's the type of place where people used to be buried.
Yeah.
Under
so
trees.
It could be just that it's one of those as opposed to somebody just losing it.
So when we're finished on this podcast, I'm going to go outside with my digging spade and I'm going to go and look for bodies.
But we can't get rid of it because it could have
No,
something
no,
associated with it love-wise, and I can't do that.
It's a bad omen.
Yeah. It's been one of those things, hasn't it, where moving here has been a bit of an adventure.
It is.
It's changing everything, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
funny how you go through shades in your life and you never stop developing, do you? Like, as a human being, you're just consistently developing, consistently changing, consistently transforming. You'll note this because obviously over the next year, my jowls are going to disappear and I'm going to look incredibly youthful, obviously, because that's going to happen. But people are totally reinventing themselves and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this home is like one of those particular reinventions for you because you've gone from being kind of like a cool DJ to a middle-aged man within a few months. It's gone from being Pete, the down with it, musician, playing clubs, being a DJ, filmmaker, to just missing a large belly. That's the only thing that you're missing now.
Well, I'm not going to get a large belly because I'm not going to.
No, but that's the bit of you that's missing. You're a dad. You're
Yeah.
officially a middle-aged dad.
Yeah, still got some belters to make in the studio though, so I'm still just take my time now. When I'm ready for it.
That's what middle-aged dads do.
Yeah, they do,
You know.
don't they?
Yeah, I'll take my time. So you've moved here and you've become a gardener, you've become a DIY expert.
I do have.
I caught you sewing tight school pants the other day, and
I
you're like,
know.
it's all
gotta be done.
changed.
I do have two other podcasts though. If people like the house music, so you just look at Dustin Manchester podcast and Manchester After Hours. There's
You
another
need to
one
put
of
the
them.
links below.
I will. I keep forgetting that. I've got
Yes,
some
if
links to
any
put
of you want to see Pete in a more cool state than this, they're where to go.
I'll put some links on so you can have a look.
I
If
don't
you
have
like-
any other podcasts because I don't have any cool interests. I literally sat with Pete the other day and I was like, you do realise we've got no friends. It was like so bad. We just sitting there and I'm like, we literally have no friends.
No, we both seem to have like gone through life. I don't know if anybody can feel what we're saying here, but it's I've never had a best friend. I've had good friends. Never had a best friend. Never had a best friend that I've kept in touch with all the way through. Which I don't know whether it's
Carl
just
was
me.
a really good friend of yours.
Yeah, Carl's a good. Yeah. We lost touch for a bit, and then we got in touch again. So, but we don't live near each other. So it's
Gary was a good friend.
I have got good friends, but because we don't live near you don't have best friends are people who live near you and you're with each other all the time from, you know what I mean? It's not so much from an early age, but you do get people with that. So I've just flitted through
Like
life.
a social butterfly.
Well,
Friendship butterfly.
trying to be friends with everybody, really. You make enemies in the way, but then you realise as you get older and you sort that out. But, yeah, I've never really sort of had a best friend, so we know you did and stuff, we know the background on that.
Yeah,
And
considerate bitch died.
I know.
Thanks, Pam.
Yeah.
Cheers for that, mate.
Yes, cheers, Pam. But, so we're sort of, when we've been busy all the time working, and I guess you're my best friend.
Yeah, but you just travel through life.
Just the two of us. I can make it if you try. Just the two of us. I don't know the words. You and I. I won't make it on the X Factor, will I?
No, but on a serious note, it's because you go through life just taking it for granted.
Yeah.
You do. You just go to primary school and you're like, right, you'll be my mate because you stood next to me in the queue.
Yeah.
And then you go to high school, you'll be my mate because you've got the same kind of hair as me and you look like you probably smoke or whatever. And then you go to university and you just meet people that are in your kind of classes. And then you leave thinking that that's just how it continues. But then you get jobs and you get thrown together with people that you'd never be friends with. You have nothing in common with.
And you always try and think to yourself.
And you just have no way of kind of getting on with them at all.
Yeah. I don't hate them. I don't hate them. I don't hate them. I don't have to go on with them. I'm not going to hang around with them. But I work with them, so they might as well just be there. Yeah, I've had plenty of people.
It's like people, and they would be like, do you want to go on the works do? No, I don't. Never went on a works do
absolutely
my entire life.
Couldn't stand works
Why don't you want to go to works do? I literally have nothing in common with any of you, and I would rather just sit at home and look at a wall.
Yeah. I can't tell you how much I didn't want to go on works do's. There's only a couple of people I got on with in certain works, but yeah, that's a whole different world of podcasts,
But we've just not managed to maintain friendships in the way that we should have. And now we're at the age where we should be going out with other couples.
Do you think we're lazy?
No, I think we were lazy. I think we've now realised that we are atoning for our sins. And that's why there's just you and me at night.
We have a lot of friends in London and stuff though, don't we? That we'd
totally. If we lived in London, we'd have an amazing social life.
So if anybody's got a free house that they want to give us in London,
mad, isn't it? It's
got to be at least 4 bedrooms
so
in a centre.
Yeah. It would be amazing. Exactly. In London, we've got loads of friends. In London, I actually feel don't get me wrong, I love Manchester, but in London, we've got loads of mates. But unfortunately, that's London, so we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's a strange one with friendship because I look back and I just kind of think that I never really understood how important it was because I'd always assumed that I had Pam. So she was my best mate. She was always going to be there. Genuinely, I know that you just don't predict anything like your best friend dying at 43. That's just not on the cards. It's never on the cards. I look back at me and her and we were each other's insurance policy all the way through. It was constantly that. She used to come around 3 times a week sometimes, just sat on my counter having a natter, and we'd always talk about the same stuff, when we were older, and she was going to have retrained as a landscape gardener and got a big house and another puppy because she'd always wanted another dog as well as the one that she had with Riz. And it was these conversations that you just took for absolute granted, and she filled so many different gaps for me. Yeah. She was the end of every thought process that I'd have about life. She was the beginning of every conversation of what I was thinking of next, and she was the person on the train that I'd be texting just because I could. When I got in my car at the station, to be the person that I'd leave a message singing down the phone and just being ridiculous with. Yeah. She was the person who always left a message with, "Hello, Emma Louise Taylor," because that used to be my name. And it's we always had that thing, Pamela Ann Fairhurst, Emma Louise Taylor. And to not have her has left a massive chasm, which she filled. She managed to fill a lot of different needs within my friendship world. She was enough. I didn't really need anybody other than her. And obviously you later on, but she had been there from 7. Yeah. And the idea now that I can't replace her is clear, but that I wouldn't even know how to start building a relationship that had meaning in that way and that power. She was the person that just lit up the room. I always say to you, she had a laugh that only laughed with me. Yeah. And I was the same with her, Well,
you grew up, in school and, it's difficult to...
But also, she was just like me. We could just be so bitter and nasty, and yet at the same time it was always meant with humour and stuff. We could just kind of be that way, and she'd just say, "Emma, you're terrible," but she actually loved it. and I kind of miss that interaction.
Oh, damn, I know. It's a funny moment. Sorry, I've just got to come here. And it's just to get another best friend is just virtually impossible. You know, if you know, it's got to be something in life that happens for where you meet somebody and it's just something like, oh right, you know, but at this age it's
well, no, I mean, like, you're my best friend now, but it's a different kind of best friendship, you know. Because like, who do I moan at when I don't like you?
Yeah,
that happens sometimes.
Well, that's what you did with Pam. I know.
I didn't actually moan too much because we don't really have a relationship where we do. But there might be a time where I literally look at you and want to despise you. It does happen during periods of life. And she would be the person that I'd call. Whereas now I'd just be like, oh, I can't call my mum because my mum's always on your side. Yeah. What's that about? What is that about? Do you know what I mean? Just like throwing it out there to any other disloyal family members. But Pete can do no wrong. Occasionally, when we've argued, I have sentences like this thrown at me. He's a broken man, Emma. He's a broken man. You know, not to throw out the fact that I might have feelings involved. As far as my family is concerned, you're a really nice guy and I must be doing something wrong if we fell out and that I must forgive you. So bad.
It's obviously one of those times, like one of those things like when you were a kid and like whenever you went on your mates' houses, you'd walk in like to their mums and dads, you'd just be like an angel.
Yeah.
You leave, you're like, right, back to myself.
Saying that, your mum and dad always would believe that I was the one who was the right.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
yeah.
that is the way it
goes.
goes.
Oh, it's our Pete.
Yeah.
He's done a Pete. Oh, brilliant. Or he's done a Mike. You know, it's, yeah, no, best friends. I mean, I've never really had one, so I don't really know. But, you know, it's, I don't know if I could, you know, to be fair, I think I've been lazy. I don't think I could have been asked. I think it's just like, yeah, let's all do it. You know, and then when you're just like, I sort of had some good friends like that, you know, and it could have become a best friend, but then I just did my head in. So I just thought, I can't be bothered with that. Probably ended up fighting with them.
It's really weird now because Tide and Evan are growing up. Again, if you've listened to this podcast, you already know who Tide and Evan are. They're our kids. But Tide is 16 this year.
November.
And he hardly wants to go out at night because kids are kicking off with each other in our area. So, like, we live in an area that's, like, okay. It's, like, middle ground, isn't it? It's got kind of people who don't have very much. It's got some people who have a great deal, I guess. But for the most part, pretty much average Joes. That's the way it is around here.
Yeah, like a lot of northwest and northeast.
Yeah.
You know, probably I'd say northwest. Northeast
little
a little
towns,
bit different, yeah.
little villages. We're in a little village, but basically it ain't no Moss Side, you know what I mean? It ain't no kind of like hardcore Mank town. So to some degree, you've got a lot of kids trying to play it being grown and hard.
Yeah.
So it's really sad to like listen to Tide and Evan talking about the fact they cannot be bothered walking outside at night. Because as far as they're concerned, there are kids coming down from neighbouring places because they feel they can exert power over this area.
And they call themselves gangs, which
a lot of our friends are struggling with their kids because their kids are wanting to be cool. Because that's the thing when you're a kid, isn't it? And if any of you are listening and you are young, and I know that I do have some people who listen to us who are young, it is that recognition that it's a really challenging place to be these days because, you know, you say something wrong on social media or you post a video that somebody doesn't like on social media or you talk to a girl or a boy on social media and all of a sudden you're targeted. And I look at the way that our kids are now struggling to even consider going out, not because they're afraid. They're both hard lads. They both do jiu-jitsu. They work out every night, you know. Somebody took them on, they'd take them down. But the point is they don't want to do that.
Well, that's probably one of the things of jiu-jitsu. It's, you know, you train yourself to look after yourself. And then, you know, it's only there if it's needed, you know. Because,
so weird, though. Why are kids doing it all the time now?
No, but it is a little bit different. I mean, it was always there when we were growing up, wasn't it? The violence, the fighting and stuff. But it's sort of, because of the social media element, it's easier to goad, it's easier to look at, it's easier to talk, chat, immediacy there. Like we chatted before, you know, the social media thing. If you embrace it, fair enough, perfectly, it's okay, it's good. But, you know, if it's used to... It's detrimental to some people, isn't it? You know, especially with young people these days, it's a whole different ball game. So that the sooner sort of older people and adults get to grips with it themselves and realise that it's moving forward, it's never going to go back. You know, this is the future, and we've got to get a handle on how to say, you know, handle, you know, from the mental health issues around it through to, you know, the self-esteem issues around it, you know, through to the violence, through to the, you know, it's. I mean, imagine if I had social media when I was doing raves.
I'd be dead.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'd
Especially
be
with
dead.
raves, I'd have 5,000 people would turn up to my raves. I'd be a success in that way, but I'd be in jail. You know what I mean?
There'd have been good parties.
There would have
though.
been brilliant bloody
It'd been
parties. We
amazing.
used to do it just by word of mouth. Didn't even put any notices out. Nothing. No phone numbers. Nothing. Word of mouth.
Those were the days.
And we just sit there and go, if you build it, they will come. Kevin Costner. You know what I mean?
That's my model for everything, Kevin
Yeah.
Costner. Build it, they will come.
Build it, they will come.
I was chatting to my mum yesterday, and she was talking about drugs and the fact that she'd like to see cannabis legalised for medicinal use because she'd like it.
Yeah.
And I was saying to her, well, I'd just, as I've said before, legalise all drugs. And she was asking me about the different drugs, and I was telling her about ecstasy and just how she would be if she was on ecstasy and stuff like that. And also kind of how I can have those conversations with her, but with my own children, I don't want them to ever kind of feel pressured to take drugs.
Yeah.
That like I have a completely different mindset to when I was a child. Now as a mother, you know, it's like I just want them to be safe.
Yeah.
But I was kind of saying to my mum, it's really funny because back in the day, I used to go to raves all the time with my friend, and we would literally turn up. She'd always drive. She had a Morris Minor, so she'd drive us there, and we'd just go and we'd party. And I just used to think, God, this is the friendliest place in the world, yeah. And I was so green back then. I didn't have a clue that people took ecstasy.
Yeah.
I literally didn't have a clue. So I was like 17 and 16 going to these places. People were dancing, smiling, connecting, hugging. And I was like, wow, this is the best place on the world to be. And I didn't know that anybody was high. It took me genuinely about 2 years to realise that was ecstasy.
Well, if you look back, for people to try and get the vibe, if they don't know what we're talking about, the vibe of it, if you just go online and look at the warehouse rave parties in the daytime and stuff like that.
Oh, they were crazy.
You know, and you'll see them
oh,
online.
they've been on for 24 hours.
Yeah, and you'd see them in big warehouses. And everybody's
Yeah.
there just dancing. It's literally everybody is
And
there just
at
dancing.
every single one, somebody would be entirely naked.
Yeah.
There would be a guy halfway through a rave who would just take all his clothes off and
Yeah.
he'd just be there,
We had that.
completely naked.
We had those people that hours.
It was something about the 80s and 90s.
Well, we did it on ours. We were on a beach or on the front. You know, they were
I
down
don't
on the
love that.
seaside. Really, there were seaside raves. So you know, you'd have people in the bloody sea. I mean, we at one point we had fireworks and everything. We had like some guys rocked up. One of the guys who actually helped organise a few of them rocked up with like just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of like commercial fireworks that he'd had stored. It was like he'd got them from some
brilliant.
deal somewhere.
That's brilliant.
And we just literally waited and we lined them all up across. It must have been a good 100 metres of fireworks across the front of the sea, you know, and then we all set them off at, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the
Your
morning.
dad used to work for the police though, and he used to get a phone call and you'd be like, Pete, they're coming. Get the stuff back, put it away.
But that was by the end. The ones before that, the police had come down and they'd just see that, you know, because we used to tidy up afterwards. You know, it'd take us a pretty long time, but they'd do that. And
Community order bill, wasn't it? Just screwed it up completely.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean,
Do
it
you
came
remember?
in where
Could
we
be a
were, and it
group
was
of
like
more
more
than
than three or four, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it's
a
classed
rave.
as a
Terrible.
riot. Yeah, it's just.
So bad. It was the same for me because I was a hunt sab. So
Yeah.
that was considered breaching that when I was a hunt sab. You
Yeah.
know, Maggie and all of those Tories knew
Yeah.
exactly how to affect the popular people, you know, like the people who were trying to make changes. And I just remember the best times at raves. They were the places that you just ended up, even when I went and lived in Swansea and I was like going out to West Wales and stuff, you know, you'd end up at these farmhouses and like there'd be full on light shows and like you'd just be stood there with a group of strangers just being like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? And it was just amazing.
My biggest regret of doing those raves, I think I'd get away with it now if I knew somebody who had it, is when I first got, I think it was even before I went to Saltburn, I'd been down there. I'd lived in Saltburn, I'd come across a small party rave. It wasn't a rave, it was just a small party at some point, and it was down on the beach. But what these guys had done, and these were like the old school, these were obviously the old acid house heads from the beginning of when it first came, you know, the early 80s, because I was only young then, so but they were still around, and they'd come on with a tractor and a boat. You see, because it was on the beach, so we had to. Yeah, well, so we had to. We struggled sometimes getting all stuff across. So we'd had everybody carrying it. So you see, like 50 people carrying all this gear, you know. But these guys, these were old school, and these had a big lighting rig, but they had it on a. They obviously were fishermen as well, so they had a tractor and they had a boat. So what they were doing is bringing getting onto the beach, in a tractor and a boat, and using the boat as a stage.
Yeah, so you could just get away off the land.
I just didn't know anyone with a boat, you know. And then the boats are pretty big. Like imagine, think about sort of a massive rowing boat looking thing, you know, so it's like from Whitby, you go fishing in, you know what I mean? But they're quite big, so they've got quite a big, but then with one of the big old tractor things, you know, that go on the beaches, and they're obviously parked up in Saltburn where we were from, and they'd pull it along, might even come in the water to get there, you know what I mean? But it was just so ideal, and you're thinking, now, I could actually, that's the way of getting onto the beach, because it's all locked up now, you see. That's the way of getting onto the beach with a boat. Then you can just stick your gear on it and off you go. You know.
I do wish you could just go and hold parties places, because
as long as you're tidied up.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. I mean, saying that, sometimes I do think that inner child in me should just shut up and stop, because I'll example this now. This is me and Pete talking about raves and knowing full on well that we're a bit too old for it. Like, we went to Glastonbury, right? It's the first time I'd ever been to Glastonbury, yeah. And I might have talked about this before. Have I talked about this before on this podcast?
We've mentioned about the...
Bear in mind, Glastonbury, didn't enjoy it at all. 5 days wasted, as far as I'm concerned. Too commercial, terrible toilets, and genuinely, it wasn't for me. No thanks. Maybe it's my age as well. Back in the day, I'd probably liked it more, but too commercial. But we do have moments where we lose sight of our age and who we are. And this is a prime example the other night where we got very drunk on gin. I woke up the next morning and I had a confirmation thing from Jet2 for 4 nights in Ibiza that we booked, because we want to go and see Eric Prince. And we've booked it.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember until the next morning. I had a confirmation of flights. I'm like, what? Although, testament to my abilities during being drunk to actually do well, I'd even find somewhere which was highly rated and very reasonable.
Yeah.
So I've paid for that. So we're actually going to go to Ibiza, aren't we?
So we'll podcast about that.
Going to Ibiza.
Yeah.
We're going to go and see Eric Prydz.
Well, it's not his Halo show, but it's almost it's going to be elements of it, and then it's in high Ibiza. It's the old space, but it just looks like it is. He's just took it to the next level. Eric Prydz. People think of like "Call on Me," but it's not. It's, you know, he has done commercial stuff, but his stuff is his shows are
I can't
amazing.
believe we booked that though.
I know, but you know.
Ibiza exhausts me just when I get off the plane and
but
look at people. I'm just like, oh, you're all too messed up. When I
Yeah.
look in the clubs, we always end up saving people as well.
Yeah,
That is the thing.
This year we're going to go to Ibiza Town, have a walkabout, shop.
Oh,
and
we're just chilling.
eat and,
But I want to go to that show.
Yeah.
But I know what will happen again. We'll end up looking after lost souls. It happens every single time we're in a club. It's like they have some kind of thing where they go, oh, that could be my mum or dad. And they just walk over and they're like, oh, I'm in a real mess. And we end up looking after people. We once had to leave somebody propped against the wall after looking after them for hours.
I know.
Do you know
We're
what I mean?
going home now.
Honestly, the states people get in, like, I'm all for having a good time, but there are limits, aren't there?
Yeah.
And I'm refusing this time. I'm refusing.
No, we're going to go. We're going to go there and do our own thing. Yeah.
I'm going.
I want to go and sit on the
dance.
beach for a couple of days
We're
as
going to
well.
sit on the beach. We're going to dance. We've not got anyone to look after the animals or the kids yet, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to write in or leave a message about wanting to come and do that for us, that's cool.
We'll have to vet you first, though. You know what I mean? No pun intended there. No.
I'm not secretly advertising for somebody to come and take my kids. I do have parents.
But it was a joke. 'Cause it was animals, and I said we'll have to.
No pun intended.
Vet you first.
I got it. I got it right back at the beginning.
Did you? What?
I did.
Right.
But I'm glad that you felt the need to explain something that was a very basic joke.
You haven't squeezed any accents in this week.
I don't know what you mean. I haven't got a clue what you mean.
That's a good Welsh.
I used to live in Wales. It was all right.
Gavin and Stacey.
They don't really like us in Wales. I'll be honest with you. Particularly in the north.
I love how you squeezed it in there, though.
Well, you kind of asked me.
Clandudno. Wait.
Clandudno.
Yeah.
I used to live in Gosainen. Just outside of Swansea.
It's a great name.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was very, very nice. I got very drunk on Three Cliffs Bay with my mother.
That's like you're Irish. No.
Well, no, that wasn't Irish.
Wasn't it?
If I was going to do Irish, I'd do that. And it'd be a soft kind of Irish accent because I can't really do the strong one. So, to be sure.
Yeah. Potato.
Potato.
Yeah.
Anyway, why are you trying to get me to do accents?
Well, it's just because we're coming to the end of the podcast, and I've actually. Hey, Pedesi.
Hey, what are we doing? What are we trying?
Italian.
I don't know. I don't know.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Pierre.
I'd like some onion. I'd like some aliole. I'd like some umbrella. I'd like some bibliothèque, s'il vous plaît.
On jette,
Avez-vous,
déchire.
avez-vous un demi-kilo fromage, s'il vous plaît? Parce que je suis très femme.
Fermez la bouche. On règle.
Continuez.
J'habite en Saltburn. Non, j'habite en Berry. Je m'appelle Pierre. See?
There you go.
Yeah,
And on that note, we'll come to the end of our podcast.
yeah.
We haven't made
absolutely.
sense of anything today.
I know, yeah. I'm glad you've let me dress like this week, by the way. Thank you. Appreciate that. Instead of last week when we had a comment saying, why have you let him dress like this?
Oh, I know.
But, you know.
I've actually worn a jacket today to try to disguise my wife's roll top.
And what a great jacket it is. Yeah, is it the same one? Or is it a different stripy one?
No, I have quite a lot of stripy ones, as you know. But this jacket is the jacket that about 4 weeks ago my brother went, Emma, when are you going to get yourself a new jacket? It's wrecked. And I went, Ash, it's meant to be like this. And he went, no. He went, no.
It's an all
He
sense.
said, Emma, I remember when that jacket was very nice. And you went, no, Ash, it was a different jacket. In the end, I had to get the picture, but he went, oh, yeah, no, it is exactly the one that you're wearing.
Yeah.
I was like, for God's sake.
You buy the jacket like that. It's, you know.
6 years old this
Absolutely.
year.
Credit
6
to-
years old.
Credit to All Saints, that.
Yeah, no. Credit to me for buying a jacket that looks old. And therefore, as it gets older, it just looks as old as it ever did. So it
Yeah.
just always looks old.
I'm going to mentally high-five you over the microphones.
Join us next week. Be happy.